this country, you have the connoisseurs who really know their fabric, who really know their textile, who deeply appreciate the world of pure, undiluted handloom. See, the sari is one of the most versatile garments, according to me. I mean, it fits everyone. And I think the most beautiful part of it is that you can make it look different every time.
You know, there's a trend that picks up and then it happens for 10 days and then people move on to the next trend. Be it songs, be it clothes. People are not repeating their clothes, which is a very, very scary thought.
Very sad. And I feel that today's, when we are talking about our planet, there's nothing more beautiful than sustainable fashion. And if you ask me, a classic hand-woven sari, it is sustainable fashion because, as I said, you can wear it in so many ways and, you know, sort of pass it down generations and use it differently. Knowledge. We are blessed to be in a country like India, where from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from, say, the west to east, you are blessed with textiles in every different pocket of this country.
This whole thing about you keep buying, and you know, that's not sustainable also, because if you buy so much, ultimately it goes and settles in a landfill. How much can you wear? And you're throwing and you're again buying. I think all these American high street brands, they promote that.
Being an Indian, you know, like people will ask me about things like, oh, what's your color of the season? So that makes me laugh because we Indians are not about color of the season. We Indians are about color.
Yeah.
We choose what we want to wear. Coming back to ancient India, there was a time where a bride was married in a kora sari. Very kora, not stitched at all. Hair just left wet. There was even that culture of purity. So, which was just a simple, plain sari.
A lot of people are venting on this whole, the whole extravaganza that the Ambani wedding was, the recent. You think it's justified how they celebrated their family affair? And
I think when you're looking at the sort of income they generate, or say even if they've spent X amount at the wedding, but then you have to accept that 30% of it must have gone in for taxation.
I think it was a refreshing change that the people coming in for the wedding were not in your, marchesa gowns and all. There was complete Indian wear and ethnic wear and Banarasi saris and handcrafted lehengas and cholis. And now I just feel that the film fair or any awards red carpet has been taken over by gowns, which is quintessentially not Indian. You know, gowns are it's a Western concept.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, there's this bastardized version of the saris called the sari gown. So I don't know why that is happening.
For me, one of the most difficult things to swallow more than anything else is the pre-stitched sari. I mean, that bothers me no end. You know, I mean, maybe we've said we've made it easier.
And it's it's actually making people lazier.
No, but why should you? Why should you as an Indian? Yeah. I understand that for the West, you have a pre-stitched sari. That's perfectly all right. But for an Indian growing up in this country, I think this should be something we should know.
Today, we are at the beautiful studio of textile revivalist Vidhi Singhania. You know, the fashion world in India is not really unaware of this person who has been reviving a lot of luxury weaves and crafts for 29 to 30 years now. Her clothes, her saris, her separates are worn by some of the country's top industrialists, power women and celebrities. Today we are going to speak a little about her journey and talk about the stature of luxury weaves and crafts and the heirloom and the heritage that India is blessed with. So let's start, Vidhi. Welcome to the podcast. And you know, you started off, I think, 29 years ago from Kota, where you were staying. And tell us a bit about how that, you know, little venture of yours began and how it has grown to this huge thing that you do now.
Thank you, Sharmi. Thank you for the beautiful words. And I believe entirely in destiny. I never planned to work. I never thought I would be so addicted and passionate about textiles as time went by. I went to Kota purely for business reasons. We hail from a business
I think
family.
your husband was positioned there that time.
And Kota was not the hub of education that it's become today.
Okay.
And anyone visiting, I really had nothing to give them. So the simplest thing was a Kota sari.
Okay.
Which was already there. So I can never claim that I was the one who brought it to light. No. I just simply used to present people a Kota
I think,
sari.
when we were growing up, our mothers used to wear Kota saris, have these very lightweight and cottons. They used to come out block printed, and generally the Marwaris wore them a lot.
It was very comfortable.
Very
fabric,
comfortable, yes.
Especially for North India or say some parts of the South. But it was a very typical sari, let's put it this way. And all I tried to do was give it design inputs, color combinations, quality inputs. And I said, let's develop this for corporate gifting as well. And little did I know that there would be a demand for that. And in time to come, the weavers were getting more consistent business throughout the year and not just catering to one kind of a market. So this market kind of showed us that less is more, and how you can have a black Kota, how you can have a charcoal Kota, how you can wear with, deal with shades like purples and blues, which was not really being done. A simple border, just a beautifully done blouse. So we sort of worked on that, and we found that as we went along, there was a market developing, and the weavers would come and ask for more business.
So Vidhi, when you were doing this at the beginning, was the market already adulterated with, power loom Kotas and, mixed with synthetics? Because, Kota has that very breezy feel. But over time, the market got adulterated with something that was not essentially Kota saris. It was more of super net, and then and shopkeepers used to say this is Kota. But did you find that problem?
This was always there, Sharmi. I think as long as I can remember, there was always that parallel market. But at the same time, in this country, you have the connoisseurs who really know their fabric, who really know their textile, who deeply appreciate the world of pure, undiluted handloom. So I think when I went in for this, I was catering to a very niche market. And I was happy to do that. I didn't really bother me that, this doesn't work for everyone. Because everything doesn't have to work for everyone.
Okay.
So this was the market we developed, and we found that there were takers, which was wonderful. And the most important message was that weavers got work throughout the year. And they were not looking for alternate means for their children. They were happy to bring them back in this profession, which has been part of our heritage and history.
Okay. So how did you then move into Banarasis?
Actually, when I was running the store, which I started much later, I found that Delhi, where I'm based, of course, is so seasonal. So you automatically look towards cottons, kotas, chanderis
in summer.
For summer, and then you're automatically looking for something which is silk, richer fabrics,
something heavier and more lustrous.
So I kind of thought that you can't possibly run a store without reaching the mecca of weaving.
Okay.
Which is, say, Banaras.
Yeah.
Because a Banaras sari has its own style statement. Personally, I'm addicted to these saris, both Kota and Banaras. For me, a summer wedding means a Kota, and a winter wedding means a Banaras. So it's sorted.
So what you did was you kind of made Kota luxury by bringing in tissue Kotas and making kota silks, which actually I have found that has that whole look of a chiffon and it's flowy. And then you do these interesting embroideries and interesting prints on them, and then you do gota patti. So it's actually a kind of doing a lot of pret as well as couture. So how did you find the response to it was, considering that in Delhi you have a vast array of designers doing, you know, your sequins and doing velvets and doing the usual lehenga, choli. So you were more of a sari person and encouraging people to wear saris, and because that's the garment that has universally been Indian always.
See, the sari is one of the most versatile garments, according to me. I mean, it fits everyone. And I think the most beautiful part of it is that you can make it look different every time. And it's also sort of working on an Indian woman's creativity or an NRI's creativity, because you can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can take it as a dupatta over a lehenga, you can take it as a dupatta over, like a, you know, the on a salwar kurta, you can wear it with that. So the versatility of this particular garment. And then I think when I sort of, there is always, as I said, the market for sequins and everything, but I found that fusing kota, a luxury kota, with crafts, whether it's, as I said, gota patti or batik or leheria, or it just gave it a little more value addition. You're giving your client a little more. And even the idea of, say, giving embroidered blouses or a potli, you're kind of giving them a complete look. They walk into the store and they can walk out feeling a completeness, where they don't have to go to several places to put things together. And as I said, I was happy with this niche market, because for me, it's very important the person picking this up should also understand what they are picking up and value it.
So Vidhi, what I noticed was, you know, like you are from a generation that believed in timelessness, believed in classics, believed in grandma's sari being passed over to the mother and then the granddaughter. Now, in an age of fleeting trends, where social media, you know, there's a trend that picks up and then it happens for 10 days, and then people move on to the next trend, be it songs, be it clothes. People are not repeating their clothes, which is a very, very scary thought.
Very sad.
It's a very scary thought. And because they're not repeating their clothes, they don't want to invest in a heritage weave or a luxury item, because it, you know, you have to invest a bit. So what they are doing is they are investing in, they're just picking up random stuff for a very small amount of money and wearing it once, then discarding it, and then moving on to the next random clothes that they have picked up. In such a scenario, how do you make luxury weaves and crafts stick and become popular amongst this generation that is so swept by this whole social media trend wave?
Instant gratification.
Yes, instant gratification.
See, you can't fight a generation, you can't fight a thought process. You flow along with it. As I said, you continue doing what you know and you feel is the best, and there will be takers. I personally like to promote timelessness. I love the classics. And I feel that today's, when we are talking about our planet, there's nothing more beautiful than sustainable fashion. And if you ask me, a classic hand-woven sari, it is sustainable fashion, because as I said, you can wear it in so many ways and, you know, sort of pass it down generations and use it differently. And I think I'm seeing the younger generation even enjoy and respect a sari, you know, whether they wear it with a shirt, whether they wear it with a belt. So this is one part of India which I see will never die out. Yes, social media and influencers, and we brought in all that instant gratification. That's also part of time. But it doesn't mean that the other side of what we are dealing with, for 40 million people in the art of textiles, weavers with this intrinsic knowledge. We are blessed to be in a country like India, where from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from say the west to east, you are blessed with textiles in every different pocket of this country.
I think a lot of awareness is needed unless and until you continuously harp on this fact that you have to make fashion sustainable. I think, and also a lot of responsibility is on the celebrities and influencers, because it's a generation is completely, smitten by them. The Hindi film industry celebrities play a big role.
Yes.
How do you think the government has functioned in this? Like, there was this, ever post 2014, there has been a lot of emphasis on the usage of weaves and crafts in a lot of sectors. We've seen important politicians trying to, promote it. Our Prime Minister PM Modi has also been seen in exceptional, ikats and Banarasis, and he actually walks the talk. So I believe you have also gifted him your Pashmina shawl. So what is the government doing in this regard? Are they actually boosting this whole sector, or you want more to be done?
I think they are doing a lot. As I said, a journey. I remember we were working with Rajasthan Heritage Week, which was promoting all the arts and crafts of Rajasthan. And at one point, the thought was to do this in every state.
Mm-hmm.
The Make in India banner does
the
fly
vocal
high.
For local.
Vocal for local does fly high. I really genuinely feel our Indian craftsmanship is very hard to beat. It's so beautiful. And that itself has its place. I mean, today, if you look at some of the most beautiful pieces, even in Victoria Albert Museum, I mean, their origins are very much Indian.
Yes.
So whether you're looking back at the chins or you're looking at... So I think the question of people like me, people like you, who value it, who want to revive it, who want to talk about it, who want to I would say, make the younger generation more aware of it. I think that emphasis, that journey has to continue.
Now, we are from a generation, and I always tell people that, you don't have to keep buying. You save up and buy something really precious, and you cherish it.
That was the old way of thinking.
Yes. So now what is happening is that people are continuously buying. There's this, this whole consumerist thought process that has permeated into the middle class. The middle class, actually the class that almost runs a country. So if that dangerous thought process has permeated that middle class, then how do you fight? I won't say fight, but how do you kind of tackle that? Means this whole thing about you keep buying, and that's not sustainable also, because if you buy so much, ultimately it goes and settles in a landfill. How much can you wear? And you're throwing and you're again buying. I think all these American high street brands, they promote that. And they have these sales, and you have long queues of people continuously buying. So the whole concept of slow luxury, where you come and you settle and you see something and then you pick it up, and so what can the government do to tackle this situation?
I think, as I said, awareness is a big factor. When we talk about the use and throw attitude, I think it's come to many things, not just clothes. It's part of the culture, whether it's relationships, whether it's very, it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
But I think, again, with constant sharing of ideas, and I would say the value system that we have to give the next generation, and everything starts at home. So I think if each one takes that, especially, say, people like you or me, who've grown up in that culture, who've seen what it meant to wear a grandmother's sari, or how to cherish a piece of jewelry, or how to cherish a relationship, or how to value, so many things, or even food. I mean, there was a different mindset, and I think this is what we have to impart to the younger generation, with no frills attached, and we have to do it consistently. Some of it will be taken in, some of it will be ignored, and I really don't think the government has to be responsible for this. It's each household. It's each, a lot of things begin at home, whether it's sensitizing our boys towards women, whether it's sensitizing our children towards the so-called the luxury as we imagine it, or the value system that has to be given to things, to people and things, and not just.
But do you think that the West is heavily influencing this whole use and throw concept? Because this is the American culture.
See, the West has always been there, and yes, we have always been influenced. But if you look back, so much is going back to the West, where they're realizing and appreciating Indian culture. Whether we're talking about turmeric lattes, or whether we're talking about yoga, or whether we are talking about pranayam, or whether we're talking about vegan food, and whether we are talking about hand-woven beautiful linen, hand block printing as opposed to digital. So it's coming back, everywhere it's written handmade, handcrafted. So if you look back at India, we've always been a country which has been rich in our heritage. I mean, the fact that the Mughals could be here and plunder us for 700 years, or say after that we had the British here for 200 years. And I think this country has so much to offer, and I personally consider myself so blessed to have been born in this country. And being an Indian, like people will ask me about things like, oh, what's your color of the season? So that makes me laugh, because we Indians are not about color of the season. We Indians are about color. We choose what we want to wear.
So, speaking of color, a recent trend which I don't agree with is an Indian bride in shades of white, be it ivory, be it beige, be it, colors are sort of disappearing from the Indian marriage scenario. Like the bride is in white and everything is white, and it's like a white wedding. So what has brought that about? Like, is it the designers' excessive inclination to pander to the West, the NRI, or what is it? What do you think has brought that about?
I think it's just trying to do something different each time.
But what about the colors? The India is known to, enjoy its reds and fuchsias and firozis and emeralds. Shadika season.
For us Indians, color is a very important part of our life. But yet, coming back to ancient India, there was a time where a bride was married in a kora sari. Very kora, not stitched at all. Hair just left wet. There was even that culture of purity. So, which was just a simple, plain sari. So, we've evolved over the years. And what I see as weddings today is something I've never seen in the past. It's something which the generation today is seeing, beyond my imagination, whether we're talking pre-wedding, post-wedding, bachelorettes, and I don't know what. It's a different culture beyond. But I guess India has, adapted it.
And we can afford to have it.
We can afford to have it. And we Indians always enjoy our band baja barat. We love our Bollywood. We love our music. We love our charts. So why not? I look at it.
So you don't find that a lot of people are venting on this whole the whole extravaganza that the Ambani wedding was, the recent. You think it's justified how they celebrated their family affair, and
I think when you're looking at the sort of income they generate, or say even if they've spent X amount at the wedding, but then you have to accept that 30% of it must have gone in for taxation purposes. Beyond that, look at the amount of work so many people got. Also, I think the Ambani wedding has left us with something that probably we'll never see in our lives again.
Also, I have been telling people that don't just look at the whole shosha of it. This family has generated employment for a lot of people through this occasion. They've done a lot of social work. They've got a lot of couples, underprivileged couples, married. They've given them gifts. They've kind of settled them, and I think it's if they want to enjoy themselves a bit with all the people they have invited, then why not? Means, after all, it is a message to the West that Indian weddings are a flamboyant affair, and we like celebrating in this
and
way.
they are a global family, and if there's this particular message you're sharing with the West, it's only doing India proud. And I look at it this way: yes, it was an extravaganza. I mean, it was hard for anyone to pull it off. How they pulled it off and how they managed to stand through so many days, that itself is commendable.
Yes.
But I mean, look, and then there was a lot of Indianness in it. If you look at the chanting, you look at the pujas,
Yes.
you look at
and the classical recitals.
the classical recitals, you look at all the Indian ceremonies in detail. I think that Indian essence was very much there, and I think that's what I enjoyed. I think the way they promoted that, and the way
I mean, I think it was a refreshing change that the people coming in for the wedding were not in your, marchesa gowns and all. There was complete Indian wear and ethnic wear and Banarasi saris and handcrafted lehengas and cholis, and so there was something beautiful about it.
Yeah, and I also find that Bollywood is so much part of India that you cannot, sort of dissociate yourself from Bollywood. That's part of it, whether they promote a particular. So I do hope, in fact, what I do wish is that Bollywood would promote the weaves more.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that's something that would reach people more easily.
Easily, yes.
And if they continue doing that and promoted the saris in their different avatars.
That is one pet peeve that I have is earlier, like when talking about the 60s and the 70s, even the 80s and also the 90s, there's this show that we used to watch, Lehere, and they used to show these film stars coming for the filmfare nights and all, and they're all wearing nice suits and saris, and now I just feel that the filmfare or the any awards red carpet has been taken over by gowns, which is quintessentially not Indian. Gowns are it's a Western concept.
Absolutely.
And then there's this bastardized version of the saris called the sari gown. So I don't know why that is happening and where we are going wrong. But an Indian actress can look so amazing in a sari, and she can wear the most beautiful handcrafted, handwoven sari, and which we saw at the Ambani wedding. All the women were looking so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I hope the celebrities, take a cue out of this and promote the Indian luxury weaves and crafts much more at important events.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope that becomes part and parcel of our lifestyle, because it will definitely send the message home.
To
much
the youngsters
faster,
who
much
are
faster,
absolutely
much faster than even, say, a government
Yes.
enterprise trying to
Exactly.
promote it. You can't take away, as I said, the magnitude of Bollywood.
Yes.
So I think that's important, and I think there should continue to be people promoting it with NIFT and with the fashion weeks and the various areas we have, and people like, say, me, many more people like me continue to promote and revive our textiles and crafts. I think that's very important.
So, tell me something, Vidhi. You are not out there. I don't see you out there doing your fashion weeks, and but a lot of people wear your clothes. So, how important do you think is this concept of marketing or being visible to make yourself seen? And because a lot of people do that, and they're much more seen. And so, how do you kind of balance that
I would
out?
say it's very important to be seen and to be seen at the right places, and it's very important to promote the work. But for me, Sharmi, I'll be honest with you, family has been very important, and I've always given it priority, and I continue to work with the same passion. But when you're giving that much time to family, you sort of automatically cannot be there for a lot of the networking and the so-called parties, because that takes. But then, as I said, the fact that coming from a conservative Marwari family, I have been allowed to work, find my space. That's good enough. I don't think I expected more than that. And my belief again is that, belief rather, is that in case people find the product good when they wear it, and when they see themselves looking good, or they feel they're comfortable, they'll come back. They'll come back. And for me, that the coming back of that customer is very important, because that means maybe something is right.
The whole retention.
I know this could have grown into something much more had I pressed the right buttons, but as life is full of choices, and you decide which way you want to go.
So, you were talking about, the essence, the true essence of a Banarasi, or true essence of a kota. We see a lot of mixture happening. Like, a lot of people are doing embroideries on a Banarasi, and maybe because bling is in and they love the bling. But what is your take on over embellishing a sari? And
see, again, mine is very, I would say, I love the feel of a pure, undiluted, virgin weave. I think there's something so beautiful about that. And the drape, the fall, it's absolutely incomparable. So, but then everyone doesn't have to feel that way. And I think the younger generation who enjoys the bling, why not? Or if you can carry off bling, why not? Or if you can carry off the weight which comes with the bling, why not?
Yes, but they also have to understand the wearability part of it. Sometimes things become, it becomes cumbersome to carry, vis-a-vis when you wear something in its truest form. So, just to make a statement, you kind of pile on the weight and the bling. But what happens if you can't wear it again? So, I think sustainability, a big part of sustainability is wearability. How practical is it?
See, if you leave the weave alone, I think the wearability factor is much more. What I do offer with my woven saris, if someone wants to dress it up for an occasion, we add a pretty edging to it, and we definitely offer a heavily woven or embellished blouse. So, say you've taken a beautiful, shocking pink sari. You could wear it with a purple blouse, you could wear it with an emerald green blouse, you could wear it with an orange blouse, a gold blouse, an off-white blouse. As I said, team it with different things. So, every time that, and also your accessories, your jewelry, everything. So you can just make it look different. But that's when we're talking about sustainable fashion and weaves. But if the younger generation prefers heavily embellished saris, including, say, a Banarsi or a woven, I'm not against it. I wouldn't personally wear it. But that doesn't mean that
we have to go with the flow.
You have to go with the flow of the time, what people want. I mean, now, as I said, people are wearing belts with their saris, shirts with their saris. I think jackets and saris look good. But then if you go back to the past, all Indian women traveling abroad would wear their sari, take it like a scarf, and wear their coat. So it's not something necessarily new. It was always there.
It's all coming back. It's like a cycle.
Back. And India is all about combining things. For me, if you wear a sari and you know the old Maharashtrian shela, you take it as a dupatta. So you're dressing it up further. Maybe you could carry an embellished dupatta, an embellished potli, and an embellished blouse, and just leave the sari pure. So there are ways of still making it look very dressy. But each to his own. I feel that's one area I sort of, in fact, I don't even come that often to really sell a sari, because I feel I don't want to influence somebody that they should pick up this
Yeah.
particular product. They
Yeah.
should feel good in it. They should feel it's doing something to them.
Vidhi, we were speaking about the Ambani family's contribution to this whole sector of weaves and crafts. We have seen Nita Ambani wear some of the most beautiful heritage and luxury weaves and handcrafted attires. Now, a few months ago, they kind of inaugurated NMACC, which has turned out to be a big convention center, and the celebrities came in a lot of clothes that wowed the audience. That is all. There is a part of that NMACC which is like a museum. It is like a weaves and crafts museum. How important is it to have museums like these in the country to make youngsters aware of the heritage, of the textile heritage that our country has? We always talk about Victoria Albert Museum and such landmark places. So do you think this will actually kind of familiarize the younger generation with the textile heritage that we are blessed with?
I think it will. I think it's been a wonderful endeavor, a great start, and I think it's come with the right thought process. Now, how it's carried forward, anything needs a gestation period, 5-7 years to see where it goes. But initially, if you see the weavers involved, or the painters involved, the artists involved, the craftsmen involved, it's very interesting that they have a platform and ability to be visible, to be more accessible to more people. And you have the same museums, even in the Calico Museum in Ahmedabad.
Yes.
And I think this country, as I said, considering what we have in terms of art and craft, this is a drop in the ocean. We probably need this countrywide. And in fact, it would be wonderful in time to come if you had actual little satellite cities built around these museums, where you have, say, a visit to a weaving center, and then you have the museum, and then you have shops to be able to pick up the products, and maybe a lovely heritage hotel done up with those textiles and those,
like how you have done up your,
ability. Say you've done something from the south, then you have those Kerala pillars, and you have everything.
And also that would actually show the people that weaves are not just to be worn. You can actually dress up your homes.
You can dress up your
also.
home. It can be an extension.
Yes.
You can dress up your walls.
Yes.
Like we are doing these beautiful hand-woven pitchwise, which I started 15 years ago.
Okay.
But that is again an ode to weaving. That why just yourself? It can be your home too.
Yeah.
So I think this is what I would look at. And I think if you had tourism, centered around these areas, that today you're taking people to, say, a Kota Bundi, so the miniature painting of Bundi, the Kota textiles, for instance, or say a UP tour which consists of from the Banaras weaving to Aligarhi Phulpatti work, to chikankari, to say the beautiful work of Zardozi of Agra. I mean, we're just talking even state-wise. These would be just wonderful trips, because luckily a lot of our hotels, and especially the Taj, Oberoi, ITC groups, have imbibed a lot of the smaller details of each area into their hotels. So I think we could do much more. The government could come into this.
Yeah.
When you say where would the government come in, I think because this could be wonderful. Actually, tourism promoted to promote textiles, crafts, arts.
And so Vidhi, you are at the helm of, you are quite a no-name. Why don't you take a suggestion to the PMO and talk it out with him that, this is how you can do it.
Yeah, I think it would be wonderful. This is a thought process. Maybe I will take it up now that you've brought it in today. And I think what the Ambanis are doing, I wish this was there countrywide. I'm sure it will come up.
I think this is a starting step.
This is a starting point. See something like Bikaner House, how it was renovated.
Exactly.
How it's become such a beautiful hub for nice shows.
Exactly.
Be it a music program, to an art exhibition.
Exactly.
Today you see the Kiran Nadar Museum, you realize the promotion of Indian artists at a different level, where you see so many Indian artists under one roof. So there is a lot of scope, and it has to happen.
Yeah, the cultural awakening in the weaves and crafts sector is also very important. That it is such an important part of our culture, because when I go to Banaras and I see that while you have your S&D and your Matin and you have your Ekaya, but there is also a lot of knockoffs and commercial stuff that has come in. Even your the middlemen are actually spoiling the market a lot. People in Banaras are going and wearing the not so authentic stuff, and that does kind of means you do get affected a bit.
No,
because
and that's always going to be there. But then, my thought process was that, okay, it's one life to live. Either one spends time trying to highlight what is wrong, and the other way of looking at it is just let's promote what's right.
Right.
And that right will eventually find its own place under the sun, and not worry about what's wrong, because the parallel story will always exist. Whether it's quick money making reasons, whether it's affordability reasons, I'm not going into that.
Yeah.
I just feel that as long as you keep promoting the essence of true work.
Yeah. And that is where, that thing comes in which you said, which is so important, that the Hindi film industry celebrities must promote it wholeheartedly a lot more.
If you remember the Bollywood industry in the 60s and 70s, when Kashmir was not going through this problem, every shooting, everything was happening in Kashmir. Now suddenly there's been a lot of international venues for, but you sort of see what this country has, and we have to rebuild every area of what we already have, and not take it for granted, and not push it away. I'm not saying one shouldn't enjoy the West. I mean, you shouldn't enjoy, say, a Zara or a Mango. Of course you should. But at the same time, to enjoy a beautifully done sari, or a beautifully hand-woven shawl, or a very painstakingly piece of jewelry of jarrao, or say a very nicely embroidered mojri. I mean, those are also very important. And that's
I think, yes, means you kind of cherish what is part of your
and be
own,
proud of it,
and be proud
and be proud of being an Indian, be proud of our heritage, be proud of our culture, be proud of what this country has.
Exactly, because if people are investing in a Louis Vuitton, which it is what it is, but constantly saying that a luxury Karwa Banarasi is so expensive, you can't afford. So that brings out the gap in the mindset.
Yeah.
Because
Also,
if you can invest in a Dior and a Chanel and a Hermes, why not?
Why not in a beautifully done textile?
Yes.
Or a beautifully done shawl?
Yes.
I absolutely agree with you, because that story doesn't go well with me either. And I think that
I think the whole narrative was set in a very wrong way.
Yeah.
Somehow I feel that this whole popular, this whole a Western brand is something to be coveted, and you do not value what is Indian. This whole narrative, I don't know from where it sprung, but it needs to be debunked.
Yeah, it is going to be. I mean, it'll have its own. There will be those brands, the international brands, which will continue to be coveted and enjoyed. But at the same time, when you look at India and what it has to offer, I don't think anyone can really compete with that.
We have shown the world the art of intricacy. Our arts have always been very, be it temple architecture, be it your bags, be it your saris, be it your weaving. We knew how to handle intricacy.
Yeah, look at our miniature artwork.
Yes.
Look at the work we've promoted and shared.
And the whole art of it. Like, you know what Ratna Pathak Shah said a few days ago in a podcast, that if we do not patronize these works, these art forms, then, you know, the art will slowly disappear, and what will stay is just the design of it, which is very superficial. Anybody can, you know, do a digital print
Yeah.
of a ikat sari, or you know, the whole surface of it. But what lies beneath is the art form, which generations of karigars and weavers and artisans have, you know, have honed their skill and have patiently worked hard at it. I think that is what people need to understand, so that, you know, it's cherished.
It's very important, and that's where we need to have people like you talk about this more often, promote this more often, because that message reaches. Today I see my daughters-in-law have joined my work, and the moment I'm not very adept at social media, so the moment they put something on Instagram or something, I just find that it moves, which make me realize that how many people are checking that out.
Yes.
So, as I said, again, platforms like this, podcasts like this, where we share and we carry an innate pride of what this country is all about, what it can offer, what it's doing. As I said, 40 million people are involved in the weaving sector. And this is not talking about craftsmen. I'm not even talking about batik or leheria or zardozi, or this is just weaving. So you imagine what this country has.
And also, you know, not just this generation, this whole craft has to be passed on. The next generation has to willingly come into it, so that the craft stays, it is sustained. So that, I think, unless, you know, we make our youngsters aware that this is something you gravitate to.
I think youngster awareness, according to me, begins at home.
Yeah.
For everything. You know, how they conduct themselves, how they handle things in the world. I think that's an important part which we cannot, and maybe awareness in schools as well. You know, it would be nice, because you start young and you value it from the very beginning. For me, luckily, I was born in a home. My mother wears a sari every day, and she makes quite a style statement. So I think when I think of homes where we grew up admiring textiles, admiring beautiful carpets, admiring lovely shawls, you know, it's sort of somewhere it just went.
It's like
deep
a lifestyle.
It went into the DNA. You know, where you can't just quickly discard something, because you know that, like now the sari I'm wearing today, this is 30 years old, but it's an old workmanship of Kota, where the cuts are more fine, when the zari is more pure than it is today. So I still cherish it and enjoy it. But then it won't necessarily work with today's mindset. But
unless you give it maybe you give the same thing to them in a different avatar. Like, you know, you make a lovely skirt with it, and you embellish it with a little bit of embroidery.
Or you add a beautiful velvet jacket. You know, which as I said, those combinations, if someone comes to me that, look, Vidhi, I have to dress up for a wedding. So then I would say, okay, let's see what you have. And then let's see what we can put together. It's not that you just have to pick up what I have the way it is. Because ultimately, you also want to promote that little bit of emotion. You know, this is my mom's sari. This is my grandmother's border. This is my mother. These are my mother's jhumkas. I mean, that whole feeling of being wrapped in that love. And putting it together with something new, which is completely your style statement.
The whole concept of upcycling
and the question of emotions involved with everything. You know, like, say you've come to my store, you're not just buying a sari. You're buying a sort of a memory that you came to the store and we sat like this and we spoke like that, and then you saw this piece. And every time you'll wear it, the whole story will come back.
Yeah.
Continue tapping.
But I also think, Vidhi, that the government should put in a little more effort in choosing the kind of people who are representing the institutions or say the offices, because there is a lot of misinformation that is still there in the government websites and all, and which is problematic, because then people, they pick those information up and it's actually misinformation. So when you correct them, they kind of come back to you saying, but it is there in the government website. Now I think that bit needs to be ironed out. Those creases need to be ironed out, because it is, after all, you are representing the heritage of a country, and you need to have better informed people manning
I
those.
agree with you. Unfortunately, what happens I'm not trying to protect the government, but very often you're not there long enough in a particular department. Very often the person who's put there is put there because of certain other reasons, but not necessarily because they are very good at that particular area. So to bring in the right people, especially into textiles and crafts, and really be there for a while and develop that area is very important. As I said, tourism, there's so many things you could add on. Better museums, and NMACC is one museum in this whole country. But to have this set up everywhere, and as you said, misinformation, updating of our data systems. I think a lot is to be done.
A lot.
But unfortunately, for me, it's not about government flogging. It's about, as I said, there's so much energy going into everything. And it's just more important to do what little each one is doing and to do that right. And hopefully that message goes across. As I said, more podcasts like this, where say someone watching would really understand the importance of a weave.
I think you should have little events over here where you call in youngsters and tell them how a karwa weave should look like, how to identify, because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, what is a pekwa, what is a karwa,
exactly,
what is a synthetic silk as opposed to a real silk,
exactly.
what is a power loom as opposed to handloom.
Yes.
No, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll take it from there and ask my daughters-in-law to help to bring in the younger people. In fact, Sana had a very nice event here with the CII younger, the women of CII, and we had a lovely talk, and of course it was really an eye opener for me also, because interestingly the women were very well informed, but I think hardly a couple of them came in saris. So it was all.
Yes, so this is something I noticed, that why do people think that wearing a sari and they heave a sigh? So what is going to change that? Because our parents' generation was always...
Yeah, they always had their... the moment we become very flexible with the petticoats, with the blouses, I think it'll just make things easier. And if draping of a sari was mandatory, if it's sort of taught, like how you are taught to say, cook or walk or talk or anything, why not even be taught to drape a sari? For me, one of the most difficult things to swallow more than anything else is the pre-stitched sari. I mean, that bothers me no end. I mean, maybe we've said we made it easier.
And it's it's actually making people lazier.
No, but why should you? Why should you as an Indian? I understand that for the West, you have a pre-stitched sari. That's perfectly all right. But for an Indian growing up in this country, I think this should be something we should know.
Yes, of course.
It doesn't matter how.
And designers should not promote it. They should not kind of encourage this.
They should insist that we teach you how to do it.
Yes.
And we'll show you how it's done, as we would show you so many other things. For me, as I said, the pre-stitched sari is a bit of a... I think what hurts me more than anything, plagiarism, and nothing bothers me, but that bothers me.
For me, I find it bothersome is you're making people lazier. They don't want to put in the effort to learn how to drape a sari, which actually kind of harms.
And actually, it's so simple.
It is.
Because in this country, again, you have maybe more than 100 ways of draping a sari. It doesn't have to be perfect. A sari is supposed to flow. It was never a stiff garment. It has to look different on you and different on me.
Yes.
So I think the moment you have your own style statement of wearing it or carrying it, I think it's wonderful, because again, you're not creating a herd fashion, you're creating something very individual. And to me, I think in fashion, your own style stamp, your own individuality, your own ability to create, to make that look even more special is very important.
Vidhi, it was, we should keep doing these podcasts because, you come back, because I know that you will have fresh insights to share with us every time that we talk to you, because with your vast knowledge and with your vast experience, it is such an enriching, time to just listen to you. So, but thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Sharmi, for making this time and making this possible. I deeply appreciate it, and I thank you to your team as well.
And we are going to do this more often.
I think so. I think so, because we have this common passion. I know how you feel about this.
Yes. And thank you so much once again. And we're going to meet you very soon.
Thanks, Sharmi. Thank you.